All right, so in this problem, we have the square root of 3 to the power of x is equal to 81. Now, to solve this, I'm going to start here with the square root of 3. So let's just ignore everything else for a second and focus on the square root of 3. Now, the square root of a number is, say, the square root of x. This is the same thing as x to the power of 1/2. Because basically, the root here is 2, but we just don't write that. And the cube root of a number, that's that number to the power of 1 over 3, because we have a 3 over here. So the square root of 3, we can think of 3 as x in this case, and we can rewrite this as 3 to the power of 1/2. So now, if I substitute in 3 to the power of 1/2 for square root of 3, I get 3 to the power of 1/2 to the power of x is equal to 81. Now, if I have something in the form a to the power of m to the power of n, this is equal to a to the power of m times n. So 3 to the power of 1/2 to the power of x, that's going to equal 3 to the power of 1/2 times x, which is simply 1/2 x. And this is equal to 81. Now, 81, that's the same thing as 3 to the power of 4. So now I have 3 to the power of 1/2 x is equal to 3 to the power of 4, and this means 1/2 x is equal to 4, and x is equal to 8. So 8 is my answer. Alright, so in this problem, I have 2 to the power of 20 minus 2 to the power of 19 is equal to 16 to the power of x. So I'm going to first start by rewriting 20 as 19 plus 1. So now I have 2 to the power of 19 plus 1 minus 2 to the power of 19 is equal to 16 to the power of x. Now, if I have something in the form a to the power of m plus n, this is equal to a to the power of m times a to the power of n. So in this case, I have 2 to the power of 19 plus 1, and this is going to equal 2 to the power of 19 times 2 to the power of 1. Now I have this minus 2 to the power of 19 is equal to 16 to the power of x. Now from here, if I factor out 2 to the power of 19 from my left-hand side, I get 2 to the power of 19 times 2 to the power of 1 minus 1 is equal to 16 to the power of x. And 2 to the power of 1 minus 1, that's simply equal to 1. And anything times 1 is itself. So I have 2 to the power of 19 is equal to 16 to the power of x. Now, 16, that's the same thing as 2 to the power of 4. So now I have 2 to the power of 19 is equal to 2 to the power of 4 to the power of x. And if I have something in the form a to the power of m to the power of n, this is equal to a to the power of m times n. So 2 to the power of 4 to the power of x, that's going to equal 2 to the power of 4 times x, which is also 2 to the power of 4x. Now, if I have something in the form a to the power of m is equal to a to the power of n, this means that m is equal to n. So in this case, 19 is equal to 4x. Now we have a simple equation here. All I have to do is divide both sides by 4, and I get x is equal to 19 over 4. Now, to check, my original equation was 2 to the power of 20 minus 2 to the power of 19 is equal to 16 to the power of x. Now, 2 to the power of 20 minus 2 to the power of 19, we already know that's 2 to the power of 19. So we get 2 to the power of 19 is equal to 16 to the power of 19 over 4. Now 16, that's the same thing as 2 to the power of 4, so now I have 2 to the power of 4 to the power of 19 over 4, And these two 4's cancel out, so I get 2 to the power of 19 is equal to 2 to the power of 19. Alright, so in this problem, I have 3 to the power of x plus 3 to the power of x plus 3 to the power of x is equal to 333. So, the first thing I'm going to do is factor out 3 to the power of x from my left-hand side. So now I have 3 to the power of x times 1 plus 1 plus 1 is equal to 333. Now, I'm going to solve what's in my parentheses. So I have 1 plus 1 plus 1, that's equal to 3. So now I get 3 to the power of x times 3 is equal to 333. Now, we want to isolate 3 to the power of x here. And the way to do that is to get rid of this times 3. So I'm going to get rid of this times 3 by moving it to the right-hand side, and I'm going to do that by dividing both sides by 3. So now I get 3 to the power of x 3 to the power of x is equal to 111. Now, if I take the log on both sides, I get log 3 to the power of x is equal to log 111. Now, if I have something in the form log a to the power of b, I can move this exponent b to the front. So it's going to equal b times log a. So in this case, I have log 3 to the power of x, and I can move x to the front. So I get x times log 3 is equal to log 111. Now if I divide both sides by log 3, these two cancel out, and I get x is equal to log 111 over log 3. Now, I can write my solution in two ways. The first of which is to actually divide log 111 by log 3. So log 111 divided by log 3, this is equal to 4.29. So this is one way I can write my solution. Now another way I can do this is if I have something in the form log a over log b, this is going to equal log base b of a. So this is another way of writing my solution. Alright, so in this problem, I have 4 to the power of x plus 6 to the power of x is equal to 9 to the power of x. So to solve this, I'm going to divide both sides by 4 to the power of x. So I get 4 to the power of x over 4 to the power of x plus 6 to the power of x over 4 to the power of x is equal to 9 to the power of x over 4 to the power of x. Now, 4 to the power of x and 4 to the power of x cancel out, so I get 1 plus 6 to the power of x over 4 to the power of x is equal to 9 to the power of x over 4 to the power of x. And if I have something in the form a to the power of m over b to the power of m, this is equal to a over b to the power of m. So in this case, 6 to the power of x over 4 to the power of x is going to equal 6 over 4 to the power of x. And 9 to the power of x over 4 to the power of x is going to equal 9 over 4 to the power of x. Now I can simplify these fractions. So 6 over 4 is equal to 3 over 2. And 9 over 4 I'm going to rewrite as 3 squared over 2 squared. And I can actually use this property again for 3 squared over 2 squared. So that's going to equal 3 over 2 squared to the power of x. And if I have something in the form a to the power of m over a to the power of n, this is the same thing as a to the power of n to the power of m. So this can equal 1 plus 3 over 2 to the power of x, which is equal to 3 over 2 to the power of x to the power of 2. Now I'm going to let 3 over 2 to the power of x equal to the variable y. So I get 1 plus y is equal to y squared. And if I subtract y minus 1 on both sides, these 4 cancel out, and I get y squared minus y minus 1 is equal to 0. Now, to solve this equation, I'm going to use the quadratic formula, which is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So in this case, a is 1, b is negative 1, and c is negative 1. So I get y is equal to negative of negative 1 plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. So negative 1 squared, which is 1, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is negative 1, all over 2a, so 2 times 1. Now this is equal to positive 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 plus 4 over 2, which is equal to 1 plus or minus the square root of 5 over 2. So y is equal to 1 plus or minus the square root of 5 over 2. However, we're not done yet because we're not solving for y, we're solving for x. And remember how we let 3 over 2 to the power of x equal to y. So this gives me two equations. I have 3 over 2 to the power of x is equal to 1 plus the square root of 5 over 2, as well as 3 over 2 to the power of x is equal to 1 minus the square root of 5 over 2. Now to actually start, we can already cancel out one of these equations, which is the right-hand one, because 1 minus the square root of 5 is going to be a negative number, and you can't take the power of a positive number and make it equal a negative number. So this equation wouldn't even work. So the only equation I have left is 3 over 2 to the power of x is equal to 1 plus the square root of 5 over 2. And to solve this, I'm going to take the log on both sides. So I've log 3 over 2 to the power of x is equal to log 1 plus the square root of 5 over 2. So now this turns into x times log 3 over 2 is equal to log 1 plus the square root of 5 over 2. And now if I divide both sides by log 3 over 2, I get x is equal to log 1 plus the square root of 5 over 2 over log 3 over 2.